Hi, and welcome to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection. I am your host, Eric Knowles. But before we get started, a word from one of our supporters.
Miami-Dade College has career paths in anything you want to be. What's your story? Be global. Be cutting edge. Be inventive. Be investigative. Be a hero. What do you want to be? Be the best. Be you. Be MDC.
Welcome back to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. I am your host, Eric Knowles. And you guys probably get tired of me talking about how excited I am. I am so excited today. This one here, the world traveler, the one and only Miss Ann McNeil. How are you?
If I were any better, Eric, I'd be you. I'm awesome.
You know, it's always so great to be in your company because you bring that energy. You just have that attitude of success. You have that attitude of building and growing, and it's not about, well, it's all right. Well, you know, I'm okay. No, you ain't never okay. You are always this ray of sunshine, and I just love being in your company. You know, you are a Renaissance woman. You hear about Renaissance men a lot, but do you ever hear about a Renaissance woman? You know, and as I'm sitting here thinking, and since we've known each other and what you do, and you hear me talk about sometimes you got to have more than one popcorn stand. Ann McNeil, she makes the popcorn stands, and you know, MCO Construction, a founder of NABWIC, National Association of Black Women in Construction, board member of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, board member of many other organizations. Wow. How are you?
I'm awesome, Eric. I'm excited to be here. And as you're talking about a Renaissance woman, I'm thinking back to just being a servant, also the founder of the International Mastermind Association with Think and Grow Rich, the book, but also a professional speaker and MCO consulting. And so as you're saying that, I'm going back to how all of these connect to service.
Right.
Yes.
And as you say, connecting to service, and as I talk a lot about relationships, and all that happens because of relationships. Exactly. You know, before we came on, we were talking about how the show and the fact that, you know, you are the first Black woman to have a GC license in the state of Florida.
Well, I like to think of it as first Black female contractor in our state that operated the level that I do, focusing on billion-dollar programs, not million-dollar projects. So it's 45 years, Eric, and
right.
Yes, that is me. Yes.
Well, tell us about that. How has that journey been?
Well,
starting, you know, being the first, et cetera. Go ahead.
No, the journey actually for me, Eric, started here in Miami at Florida Memorial.
Okay.
Florida Memorial, undergraduate degree in accounting, met my boyfriend, husband, Daniel McNeil, and I was blessed to get a corporate job in West Palm Beach at the largest employer in the county, Pratt & Whitney Aircraft at the time, and we moved there. But going back to the previous show, we bought our first home, then we bought the house across the street, then we bought the house down the street, which happened to have been a duplex, and we knew absolutely nothing about construction. So every day after work, we go to the library, we'd learn how to do repairs, and then we'd go back to our corporate job. And the next day, and then one day I came home from work, Eric, and my husband, who calls me babe, he said, babe, if I had it to do all over again, I would not go to college. Now, let me set this up.
Right.
He graduated summa cum laude. I graduated, thank you, Lordy. So when he said I would not go to college, I'm shocked. I'm saying, well, what do you mean? He said, think about it. He said, I did the estimate, I did the numbers, and what these guys make that come in here and do these repairs, they don't have any college debt. didn't finish high school, let alone college. He said, what they make in an hour is more than you make a day. I couldn't compute that math.
Right.
And I kept saying, excuse me, and he kept saying it over and over. And I said, well, if you wouldn't go to college, what would you do? He said, I go to trade school. I said, you're kidding me? Trade school after all of these degrees, undergraduate, master's and all that? He said, yes, I go to trade school and start a business in construction. I said, well, I'm going to go to trade school. Now, he laughed
Okay.
because
And how old were you at this time?
I had to be early 20s, like
Okay.
22, 23.
Okay.
And so I did just that. I went to trade school and began to learn how to build from the ground up.
Okay.
And that was the beginning of the journey. And like the previous speaker, you look at what the goals and the skills, but also the mindset, because at the same time as when I read the book, Think and Grow Rich,
Right.
and everything else shifted from that to help me understand that I needed to become an entrepreneur who did construction.
Okay.
And that's where the two of those met.
Wow. You know, some people just have that in them, and there's a light that goes off, and someone brings the light, you know, the match to light it. As I'm thinking, and obviously your husband was that person who brought the match.
And still is, yes.
And you talk about trade and et cetera. And here today in 2025, you know, trade professionals, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, as you said, they make a great living. And if you learn that trade and you turn it into a business, that's a whole nother world.
And that's one of the reasons why, Eric, I teach a course at Florida Memorial for the last few years, partnered with Lennar and the Dolphin and ABC Construction Association and Florida Memorial. Teach a course called Mindset for Success in Construction Trade.
Okay.
Because so often we talk about the trades as a job, but not as a business opportunity. Take those same people and help them have a mindset shift to understand the benefit of being a contractor versus only a worker, whether you're electrical, mechanical, or plumbing, or even whatever those trades are.
Right.
It's a big difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, MCO Construction, NABWIC, tell me the proper name for your mind.
Oh, International Mastermind Association. with Think and
International
Grow Rich.
Mastermind.
Yes, yes.
Talk about that a little bit.
Well, when I read the book, Think and Grow Rich, 9 p.m., December 31st, 1979, my husband and friends were going out to celebrate the new year. I was just so broken. I mean, bad, broke and broken. I just couldn't party one more night. And I decided to stay home while they celebrated and began to read the book. But Eric, I got to page 28 and everything shifted because the author asked me this. And whenever I speak professionally and coach my clients, I always ask this question. The question he asked me, I made it personal. The author said, Ann McNeil, how much money do you want? How much money do I want? What do you mean? Nobody ever asked me that
Right.
before. I took what I was given in a salary. I took what I was given in a job. So when the author asked me how much money do I want, I just kept reading. And then he said, what are you going to do to make the money? By what date do you want the money by? Where's your plan? And Eric, I sat there from 9 o'clock that night to 4 o'clock in the morning, and I could not figure out how to save $1,000 a year. That was the journey for Think and Grow Rich for me. The next day, I got up and I continued to read the book, and I started my first mastermind group by giving the book away, doing what the book said. And from that beginning of the mastermind process of mastermind, which is just a couple of people of like minds and like spirit,
Right.
holding each other accountable. That's basically what a mastermind group is. And from that, within 10 years, you know, Dr. Mill married. You know,
Right.
I know a lot of the people that was in my first mastermind group. And we started meeting Eric every Saturday at 7 a.m., rotating each other's homes.
Hold that thought.
Got it.
We'll be right back. Hear a word from one of our supporters.
Learn and earn today at Miami-Dade College. College graduates earn 56% more than high school graduates and $1 million more in lifetime earnings. A degree from MDC is your path to greater earning power and career success. Choose from hundreds of affordable high-tech and in-demand career programs, including cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, business, and nursing. Learn and earn today at MDC and fast-track your career. Enroll now at mdc.edu/purpose.
Welcome back. I am your host, Eric Knowles, and I'm here with my good friend, Miss Ann McNeil. This is the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection, and we're talking about, you talk about connecting the dots. This is connecting the dots. And you were talking about your mastermind and the fact that you meet every Saturday at 7 a.m., and I can say I've been fortunate to be in a few of those. I need to get back. But I mean, you just exude this take no prisoners attitude, and I learned this term when I was in the Army, can do it attitude, and that's been the you that I know. I mean, there's never been a time when you said, well, we can't do that, or you're like, what do we want to do? And let's figure out and make it happen. You're like, let's make it happen. Your mind is that catalyst to create and whatever it is you want in life. And that's the one thing you talk about. You could have whatever you want. And you've been doing that. NABWIC, touch that a little bit.
The National Association of Black Women in Construction was actually born out of the International Mastermind Association for Think and Grow Rich.
Connecting the dots. Connecting the dots.
Well, what happened, Eric, is that because we were masterminding in every area of our lives, and that included 10 areas: the spiritual, the family, the financial, the health, the education, the personal development, the business or career, the recreation, creativity, and civic. We were every Saturday talking about our goals and what did we do that week. And for me, starting a construction company, which I knew absolutely nothing about, and I'm beginning to look to align myself with people who did the same thing. After I started my business by going to work with Thacker Construction, which is the largest contractor, black, in the U.S. at the time, early 80s, I then began to look at the plight of black women in this industry. So all of the white associations, right now I'm involved with over 50, yes. As I would go to their meetings, I would always see one of us here, one of us there. And I just started collecting people's contact information. And then I started looking around. The Hispanics had an organization. White women, NAWIC had an organization for construction, construction contractors. ABC, AGC, I could name probably a good 20 of them.
Right.
But there was no place for us as black women in the industry. And I just kept thinking I should do something. And then one day, somebody called me and said, God told me to call you. I laughed because I thought it was funny and said, you're supposed to help me. I'm a black woman in construction. And he told me to go to Google and Google black women in construction, whoever came up first, call them and they're supposed to help you with your business. And that was the beginning of the National Association of Black Women in Construction. And right now, Eric, we're in about 22 cities across the U.S. And today, like every month, we host a $1 billion luncheon virtually for industry. So today's luncheon is about transit. And what we do is we bring together the agencies that have the billions, because what we're learning, Eric, is that it's easier to get into a $1 billion deal than it is a $1 million deal.
Okay.
Because we operate at a very high level. And that was the beginning of how the association was formed. But we take anybody. We take whites, black, Hispanic, male, female. We are open to everybody. But people say, well, why do you have to have a black one? Well, because I am black and I am a woman. And I know that there's
And we know how the world operates.
For us, especially during these times, which I think is a blessing. That's another podcast.
You know, actually, as I was coming in, I thought about how do we have that conversation about today.
We can have it today. We can have it right now if you want.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, let me say this. I'm a contrarian. Let me open up by saying this. I think that everything that's happening is a blessing in disguise. You talked about my mindset.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I think it's a blessing in disguise. You want to hear my analogy?
Yeah, please.
You sure you want to hear it?
No, I know it's going to be one that I appreciate, I'm sure.
Okay, my analogy is this because I am learning to shift my mindset. I do what I call a daily date with myself. I invest a couple hours every day before I leave home, working on me, making a
Right.
deposit because people are going to make withdrawals.
Right.
And I came up with this analogy to help me work through this. It's biblical in a sense. So my question is, what did God tell Moses to go tell Pharaoh? No, it's a question.
Just let my people go.
Exactly, but what did God tell Pharaoh?
Now, you got to help me on that one.
God told Pharaoh not to let the people go. So he kept telling Moses to go to Pharaoh and say, let my people go. But the word says that as he was on his way, God hardened Pharaoh's heart. So as I'm reading this for years, as I go through things in life that I cannot control, I'm saying, but why would you do that? And then at the end of the story, he said, because I wanted my people to see me, not Pharaoh, and what I could do over Pharaoh. And so I contend, come on now, you're getting ahead of me, you're getting ahead of me. You're getting ahead.
Go ahead.
I contend, and for those of you that's listening, you can use the figment of your own imagination. Yes, I contend that we're more than conquerors.
Oh, absolutely.
And we need to know whose we are and where the source is. And so we all have a mind. I love a quote by Napoleon Hill that said, greatness is the ability to recognize the power of your own mind, embrace it and use it. And I contend we stop embracing our mindset, embracing it and using it.
Absolutely. You know, I wrote a piece back in 1994, and I'm going to share it with you. It was one of those, started at, 9 o'clock that night, and I finished it at 4 in the morning. And it talked about supremacy transcending, okay? And so we are that.
Yes.
You know, equality, it actually was equality transcending to supremacy. Because when we are at our best, we are the best in everything that we do.
Say that.
And that's just as simple as that. And so I follow you 100%. You know, I hear people say, and I haven't really wrapped my head around what I'm saying yet, but they say we've been here before, but have we?
Yes, I think we have. And I think I just came from Denver, Colorado at an ACCA conference, and Franklin Lee, the guy that does the disparity studies all over the United States, he was the keynote speaker, and he talked about exactly what you're saying. You know, when you look at how have we been here before? Slavery, we've been here before.
Absolutely.
During the 40s, 50s, and 60s, we keep surviving but thriving through it.
Right.
The challenge comes, I think, Eric, is when we go to that other place, oh, woe is me, and
No, we can't go there.
but I'm saying that's what happens to so many people, and it takes on energy because the mind does not know the difference between what's true or false. It only knows what we tell it over and over and over again.
Absolutely.
And as we tell it that over and over again, our subconscious and conscious begins to believe that. So I don't believe it. I think that this is a very exciting time.
No, it goes back, when I say it harkens back to when we had to depend on one another, when we had to depend on our community, when we had to depend on our doctors, our lawyers, our, all of those ingredients that make us us. And it goes back to those relationships, having a relationship with an Ann McNeil. We got 1 minute left, and I mean, you've been a part of the chamber. You've been a part of the chamber all your life. You're on the board now. We got 1 minute.
Okay.
Let's talk about the chamber for that 1 minute.
Well, Eric, because I've been involved with the chamber from when Dave Fincher started, I was a student at Florida Memorial University, a freshman. And so the journey for me, as I look back in the rearview mirror, I can clearly see looking forward in terms of what we must do as the beacon of hope for all businesses, but especially Black businesses in Miami-Dade County, but also in the state. And so I'm just excited to encourage everybody, white, black, green, yellow, Hispanic, male, female, to become a member of the chamber, because I do believe that inside, going back to each one reaching one and supporting each other, we have everything we need right inside the chamber to make a major difference in businesses in the county.
Oh, absolutely. And again, it's about relationships. It's having the Ann McNeils in the room. It's having the Jeff Lazamas in the room, the Connie Kennards, and I don't get mad at me, boy. But anyway, how can they get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me. I enjoy giving out my cell number. It's the best way to reach me, and that's 786-546-0184. Again, the number is 786-546-0184. It's the best way to reach me, and also connect with me on LinkedIn. This
has been the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce Member Connection. Go to the Chamber's website, m-dcc.org, or call us at 305-751-8648. See you on the other side.
Today, I stand before you, a proud graduate of Miami-Dade College and the 5th president of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. I'm honored to return to the college that prepared me to become a leader in our community, providing an education second to none. So I'm asking you to please tune in every Monday at 12 noon to the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce's Member Connection, as I interview members of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce on our Facebook page at Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, or our YouTube channel, Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. To learn more about the Chamber, please go to m-dcc.org or call the Chamber at 305-751-8648.